Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, grab your partners by the hair, shake them like they're just not there. Yes, it is Tony who's looking normal. Good morning to you, Tenpole Tudors Crapathon, and Chris B. Howdy, partner.
Howdy. Thank God you can't see the belt buckle or boots. Thank God it's
Well,
currently.
presumably you're only wearing the belt buckle and boots beneath.
I was going to say, what about the arseless chaps? That's what I'm. That's what I'm more worried about.
It is actually 5:55 this time, so for clarity, I've just dragged my ass out of bed.
Congratulations on another miracle. So, gentlemen, I'm glad you're here today to discuss the humiliation of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. As some predicted, I take no pleasure from it. These are unmanageable scumbags, and it doesn't matter if you brought the Pope direct from the Vatican with all the goodwill and earnest learnings and secrets and stuff he has under his kilt. It isn't going to make a jot of difference. We brought in a guy whose CV doesn't read well if you want him to be your long-term coach, but as Igor will fix it, a man that goes in and firefights and turns the ship around, coming in and getting thrashed at home by a team that was supposedly having a wobble. For me, you can keep all your Dr. Tottenhams and all your other Spursiness and all the rest of it. It was utterly humiliating, a total shambolic performance. The players appear to be totally stubborn, and we are the unmanageables. Does anybody wish to contest the point? Is all I can ask.
I would add further. It was absolutely disgusting to watch video clips that emerged on social media last night of Mickey van der Ven completely going against what the coach in his first game is saying to him, where he's telling him to push up, play higher up the pitch. He's making it quite clear what he's asking. And for a man who's supposed to be part of the leadership team, that calls questions into the fact that you've got the three wrong idiots to lead that team. You've got Vicario, you've got Van der Ven, and you've got Romero, and all of their recent actions speak for themselves. You just think if these people think they're better than they actually are, there's a reality check ahead, because the league doesn't lie. Take away Mickey van der Ven's pace, and is he actually as good a player as we all think? I think he's quite poor defensively myself, and he'll never be as good as Jan Vertonghen or Toby Alderweireld, in my opinion. But that's just me.
Yep, 100%, Chris. Completely agree with you on that. He flatters to deceive. He looks like a Rolls Royce on occasion, but 90% of the time he looks like Del Boy Trotter's Roller Robin.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. You've got true leaders and men of men, with being in Toby and Jan, who wouldn't stand for anything and just got on with it and screamed and ranted and raved at their respective partners around them. Whereas Van der Ven, honestly, what we know, we're past the Frank thing, so Frank's gone. But what this does do is opens a huge window into what Frank has had to deal with, and part of the reason why he's got it tactically wrong. We know he got it tactically wrong. We know there's been things he didn't do right. But if you're working with this bunch of retards and the way they behave, as we've seen yesterday in particular, in certain clips, but we knew was going on anyway, then it's no wonder he failed, and it's no wonder everybody who comes here fails with this bunch of nutbags in charge. We need to get rid of them all. We need to have a complete reset, get rid of the whole stinking lot of them, and actually build and recruit, preferably with people who actually know football in charge, and recruit characters, people who actually have some balls and backbone about them to go about getting this club, dragging this club back up, because we keep saying they can't go any lower. Oh, yes, we can. We can go a lot lower, and we keep plummeting. And it's. We're on it, was it in Aliens? I like to do a film reference, but in Aliens, we're an express elevator to hell, baby, going down.
I just want to look. I know a lot of people don't appreciate my commentary on Spurs because I'm really upbeat, but I've witnessed, the same as everybody else, except for I wasn't dropped on my head as a baby, 25 years of utter mismanagement. Watching TV the other day, it was YouTube or something, and you got this Abby Grace Summers, because we must come out early if we're going to come out at all, moaning on about the Arsenal on the coffee cup thing. The infantilization, the dumbing down of commentary has allowed what we've seen on the pitch to happen. So while this woman, who has made certified very racist remarks, I make lots of remarks unpalatable because I'm naturally presumed to be the funniest or the most intelligent person in the room, and not everybody's going to like that cup of tea. Well, guess what? I don't care. But when you're out and out thorough racist, but apparently it's okay if you leave it a couple of years because your sins are forgiven, this is the weak-arsed commentary that we're getting. And now, I have to say, we've sat through months, and it has been painful to me, which is why I wince. Months of idiotic commentary about people talking about tactics. The problem with this club is ever so straightforward. ENIC are cancerous. Oh, that's a nasty word. They have done no good. They've brought no goodwill, no nice feelings with them. They have asset stripped us whilst we stood there shouting, "Come on, you Spurs," surrounded by Korean people who didn't even know where they were. May as well be at Formula One or at the races. This team, because I tell you something, Van der Ven, there's nothing wrong with him. He's a really good, excellent, top-grade footballer. But unfortunately, he has been polluted. That's what I'm putting to you, by the cretins, the low-rent, two-bob scumbags that he is surrounded by. And I go back to it for 100 times. You go to the pub as a kid, you play pool against your mates, and then Johnny the pool hustler comes in, and he's super skilled, and you raise your game. That's how human beings work, and that's the end of the psychiatric lessons for the day, right? But you put people against rubbish, and you sink. And that clip yesterday that Chris is referring to, did anybody watch that and say to him, was he trying to kind of mentally say to him, "Oh, well, actually, I've got a bit of I've got a bone in my leg"? He was doing that thing of a horse that wasn't quite ready to move. And this is the level we're at. He is in the premium pack of our players, the senior player leadership group. They couldn't lead themselves to the bathroom. They just stand there and wet themselves.
They haven't got a backbone amongst them. Not a single backbone.
So full of themselves. They live in this rarefied nonsense of the training ground. If I was the CEO of Tottenham Hotspur tomorrow, do you know what the first thing I'd do? And there'd be a lot of stuff that wouldn't be very nice. I would take Hazel, and that's the name I've given from the Italian job, to the crowbar I used in the pub, and just go and put it through stuff that shouldn't be there anymore, because it reminds you of the old stuff, the rubbish that doesn't bloody work. And you put Hazel through walls, through tiles, through pictures, and you make sure you send out a message to people, we're not doing this anymore. So all that stupidity you were embraced and washed in is gone. And I would take Hazel down to the world-class training facility and smash the living monkey out of 90% of it. Sick to death of the fact of the towels being all puffed up. How are you? What can I get you? Can I get you anything else? It has to stop. And we can't moan at managers or even discuss managers because it's academic. It's cosmetic. It's after the fact. The problem are ENIC because they're the owners. They're bad recruiters. They recruited badly. The monkeys, the jackanapes, as I was referred to earlier, that are within the board, within the training system that they've got there. None of it bloody works because they're not football people. So we need to smash that place up for starters. And I don't care if anybody says, "Oh, it's going to cost a lot of money." Money's the least of our worries. Need to break the mentality that has suffocated this club. And I tell you something, I think we're going down, and I will bathe in it. I will bathe in it like I've just got off the airport somewhere foreign and exotic, and suddenly my shirt's stuck to my back. I'll bathe in it, and I'll rinse clean the scum from under my collar. ENIC have destroyed this club, and the sooner somebody takes a crowbar to it and lets us just get rid of it, the better. Sorry for that, but I've been absolutely livid all weekend. I could see this. Is everybody on drugs? 60% chance with the bookmakers of Arsenal winning. I didn't think for a nanosecond when that equaliser went in, we were coming back, because I wasn't dropped on my head as a baby. This is the kindest language I could use. I have no hope. I have no faith. You won't find me down the mosque. You won't find me down the cathedral. I have no faith whatsoever. These people are poison. And this is where they have brought us. This bloke was supposed to come in, and he's called the ferryman. He gets you to the other side. He gives you safe passage. And we've even managed to screw up his parade. And what's he done? Pointed out that there are bad habits within this player group. And that, as we all know, is just 2% of the story. We're surrounded by scumbags. Can't move for scumbags.
I've made an observation.
Go on, Chris.
In that film, Austin Powers, you got Dr. Evil, who's bald, and he goes like that a lot of the time, and he's got a pussycat. Well, Tony, I just saw your pussycat on the camera. You've got the full package.
I did hear ginger pubes, Tone.
Well, what can I say, mate? You know, my pubes are very active. But even the cat's disgusted. Even the cat walked out, you know, because they've had enough as well.
I tell you,
you talk about football, you know, which is what we're supposed to be talking about. But even ENIC as a concept in terms of the club continuously screw up things on an astronomical level. You know, all these stupid videos they keep releasing of new players and all these bloody social media bollocks. You know, when they had the thing about the North Stand, you know, North London since 1882, did they actually not know that it wasn't North London until 1965? You know, it's just like, it's mind blowing, these total own goals they keep scoring, and yet they're either don't give a shit because they don't care about us, which I suspect is more the case, or they're just completely and utterly oblivious to the idiocy they keep producing on a daily basis. But I suspect it's more of the former than the latter.
The level we're at, okay, this is for a reality check for the three of us here and everybody watching at home. The level we are at are those two monkeys from the Spectrum Brothers, We Are Tottenham TV, standing there going like this. I can't believe what is happening. That's where we are. We're the bottom of the food pile, the bottom of the DNA tree. Absolute monkeys. Total disaster.
I hope that Dragusin's agent, who's been so quick to tell us he's likely to be moving to Real Madrid in the future, will acknowledge what a totally wank game he had yesterday.
You see, the thing is, and I'm not against singling players out. I'm not. I really am not. But do you know, I actually, for me personally, I find it quite futile because the atmosphere, the culture is so bloody toxic at Tottenham. You could put whoever you think is a perfect shining beacon of hope, wisdom and mercy in there, and they go wrong.
Well, you look yesterday.
I don't have a single fan favourite. I think they're all rubbish. Yeah, you've got Vicario, who's shouting endlessly now. I actually think he's probably got some sort of mental disturbance in his brain. He sounds to me like something isn't wired up right. He's shouting even when the ball isn't near him.
Yeah, it's called Tourette's.
Yeah. But they're all rubbish. They're all rubbish. A lot of them aren't going to realise the money that their agents want to get for them when they inevitably flee, because they're not going to want to do the same money for half the price next season. Because if anybody has got anything beyond lucky beads or whatever other fantasy nonsense in their hands they want to share with us as to why we are staying up, because I don't see it. I don't feel it. I'm not buying it at all. We look like a side that is, we've seen it all too many times. We've been following football between us for decades and decades and decades. And we look like a side that has imploded and is going down. And it's all down to the owners. Bad decisions, one after another. And as Tony says there, business is these endless stupid video clips. And the little pundit kiddie stood there looking like he's waiting for his Blue Peter badge to arrive. So then, so what do you think of the performance? And then refers to mentality. You couldn't invent it. It's beyond parody. Absolutely beyond parody.
Yep. But when you do look at the team yesterday, old Jed Spence was shocking again. He gives the ball away so often on the left. You had Polinia playing as a centre-back, and Archie Gray as a right-back. Tells you everything about the mess that we've assembled as a squad, doesn't it?
Polinia was a shining hope, and he has caught the same disease from the others. It's the old you sleep with dogs, you catch fleas. And he has caught the same problem, and Jed Spence, who I did have time for until everything that Neil Warnock told us started to come through to the surface again, and he does come across as an uppity little know-it-all. And the England caps, alas, did him mentally no favours. And he seemed to think to himself, he was being shouted at by, there was a corner coming in, and it was Radu that was saying to him, blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, forgive me. It was our old friend, Mr. Chuckles, Yves Bissouma, was saying, come on, stay focused. And you could see in the body language from Jed Spence, he was looking at him saying, mate, you're hanging on by your fingertips here. I am an English international. That's what we're up against. Everybody's diseased.
Yeah, you look at that. Even yesterday, there were so many things you can point out. But first of all 4 goals were soft beyond parody. You talk about parody, they were just soft. Everyone was going, oh, what a great goal Gokere scored at the end there. He went past Archie Gray like he was
he wasn't there. Yeah,
exactly. And do you know why? And why did that happen? Because he took Polinia off and put Gray in his position. Polinia would have just probably nutted him one. He would have just probably taken him right out. Because that's what men do. It's not. Once we say it's not necessarily football. If you know you're going to get beaten as a defender, you take a card. You take a card. It's not the purest way to do things. It's not the way that pure football should be played. Gentlemanly sport, blah 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 blah. But 99.9% of decent defenders will go, right, he's not getting past me no matter what. I'll just take him out.
But you see, I was watching the game yesterday with somebody who, and it was difficult not to have a really long, boring conversation, because I'm watching the football and I'm watching these effeminate men making stupid decisions because they don't know where their next eyelash tint is coming from. And then as the camera pans round after an Arsenal goal, and obviously I'm not in a great mood, but I turn around and I say, a bloody flag! To which I get, so what's the flag doing? And again, Hazel, my old beauty, stab through there and rip that out and throw it into the landfill. All of these weak things interfering. Honestly, I know people think I'm nuts, but you start removing from your life nonsense. I cleaned my flat yesterday, and I'll be honest with you, I hadn't been doing people who know me know that I'm not a natural born cleaner. I find it a waste of time when you could be doing anything else. But, I cleaned the flat and I felt better about the world. Everything in its place. Nothing. I don't have a lot of stuff, but everything is to hand. But there was no debris. There were no bottle caps. I have no idea how many bottle caps I've got. But again, that annoys me. They come attached now. So what do? Yank them off and throw them in opposite directions. I'm determined they will never meet again. They separate when they come into my hands. I'm a big fan of single-use plastics. But the point being is, all of the nonsense from your life, put it in a dustbin. Kiss it goodbye. I'm not talking about recycling it. Just throw it all into bloody landfill. Hit eject on junk. And you look around the Tottenham building, you look around the environs there, and you've got this wretched bloody flag, which is about interfering with kids. I know it doesn't sound nice saying it, but there isn't any normal language about how you feed that into the conversation. Somebody needs to come in, and I'm not volunteering unless they pay very, very, very big money, and wipe that round like I did with my... see, he's still got his bloody bookshelf leant against the wall, so it wasn't the complete truth. But somebody's got to come in and wipe everything down and clear away all of the debris. There's so much junk and confusion going on there. I'm convinced nobody in that club knows the difference between up and down.
Well,
it has to stop. It has to stop. How do you get a player? Because Mickey van der Ven, I'm not digging you out specifically, Chris, but Mickey van der Ven, I wouldn't say he's a Rolls Royce. I'd say he's on his way to getting somewhere good. But he's a really decent quality player. And how have we got to a situation where he and that idiot scumbag Romero are part of the Revolt, part of the I'm Too Good club? It is something which is nurtured in a really toxic environment. And somebody needs to come in who can get the support of right-thinking people, stop embracing nut jobs. So the fan advisory board, bye! All these crazy people who are identifying as recycling bins, transsexuals, all the rest of it. Get rid of all of it. Focus on being a football team. I'd suspend everything. I'd suspend all the concerts, everything. Stop the money coming in and bring them into the shining daylight and show us what you're going to do with the football club. Because all of this other stuff, these distractions, these dilutions, and this just general weirdness, I cannot tell you enough. This corporate weirdness, it has to stop. Because the net result of this is a club heading into the Championship.
Well, it made me laugh, the recent attempt to be proactive in respect of Lang's interview that broke Friday, Saturday. Complete nonsense, hogwash. It's ENIC trying to take the reins and convince us, where we all know otherwise, that they were behind the sacking of Frank and that they've got this plan and they remain ambitious. Yet talk is cheap. Show us some action. As we've heard it so many times before, you just turn it off and you stop reading.
But it's LinkedIn twaddle is what it is, because
Well,
nobody in their right mind talks like that normally.
Well, the guy came close, but without acknowledging his own failures and the failures of the board and the footballing side of things, because we're in January, we've got Mountain full of injuries, we haven't improved the team, and we're in a relegation battle. So that's hardly success, is it?
Absolutely. And the time to have been ambitious was when Poch had a team worth fighting for.
Correct.
That was where that is exactly the pivotal point in our current history where it all started to go to shit, because we were on the cusp of something very, very special, potentially. I know you can never say it will ever, but we had something going really, really well there. And with 2 or 3 really good quality additions to build on what was there, who knows what could have happened. It might have all turned to crap. It might not have been anywhere near it, but I doubt it, because there was something really good going on there. There was a kind of almost a revolution. And yet, guess what? Let's have a shiny new stadium instead, because that makes us more money rather than the football.
Yeah.
Let me give you a quote that you may or may not love. I'm not going to tell you who it is until I've given you the quote, because it would affect how you viewed the quote. Certainly affected how I did. Tottenham are in denial. They are not a serious club, and their mentality is all wrong for their relegation fight. There will be players and staff pointing fingers or pretending nothing is quite as bad as it really is, but it is not realistic. They were in denial when they finished 17th last year, and they have not moved on from it. And do you know what wise sage came out with those words? No, it wasn't Dolly Parton. It was Troy Deeney, who I would otherwise say is a bit useless. He's not a great player, not a great manager.
He knows football.
But he understands football.
So,
and you cannot pick and choose what facts you're going to dwell on and which ones you're going to gloss over for convenience. You finished 17th last term. You can't wipe your bottom. No, you're not going to astronaut school today, Sonny. We're only taking people who can wipe their bottom, because in space it all gets a little bit tricky.
What's really galling about the current situation as well is last season we finished 17th, but we won the Europa League, and
So
everybody's
what?
been hanging on to that like a desperately drowning man. Yeah, everybody's been hanging on to that like a desperately drowning man in a force 9 gale, 60,000 miles from the nearest bloody port. I know there's not 60,000 miles from the nearest bloody port, but you're just using it as a bit of a hyperbole.
Tony, the phrase you're looking for, if I may assist you in your work here,
please feel free to do so.
It's like a drunk man using a lamppost, more for support than illumination. Nobody benefited from hearing that we beat 10 bloody awful sides that were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 1 to win a second-rate trophy. Nobody benefited from that information. I didn't benefit from watching a single game in that competition. I thought the games were appalling. The final was one of the worst I'd ever seen. We finished 17th. That is a far more damning appraisal of what's happening over a prolonged period of time than winning 10 games in a knockout competition.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't glossing, even papering over with wallpaper. This is dishonesty. Oh, we're not mentioning about 17th because we won a trophy. Well, let's talk about the trophy. Well, there's your trophy, which, of course, you equally were dishonest in the way that you manifested your delight from it by telling everybody that we were champions of Europe, which is quite ironic because you couldn't get further away from any team that had that degree of authority.
I think you need to conclude that with the actual statement, champions of Europe, you're having a laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. But people we can't even mention because they're so thin-skinned they'll probably jump off a car park because they're emotionally malnourished. Podcasters have been reeling that out all year. The stupid people are having their payday, and I honestly, I'm quite enjoying it. The idea that sanity beats stupid makes me happy.
And if you think about yesterday, going back to the game, that a lot of people go, yeah, well, we only had 13 first teamers, blah, 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 blah. If, with all these people out injured, it would have been a completely different game. Nah, no. We are so far behind Arsenal. Arsenal, you could argue Arsenal made some tweaks there. They didn't have, they had people on the bench who were like coming back from injury too. Okay, but their overall squad is so much better now. But Arsenal were started off in second gear. We dragged them down to first gear because that's about the only gear we're capable of. That was what it was for a while. In the second half, when Arteta had decided, right, enough's enough, I'm going to kick you lot into oblivion if you don't start playing. Guess what? They decided they were going to play, and all they needed to do was go into third gear. That's all they needed. They didn't even get. They could have gone. They had 6 gears to go through. They didn't need to go through 6 gears. We'd have had our best squad out there. They'd have just got into 4th gear and still beaten us anyway because we are not capable of it.
Arsenal raised their game, and it was like watching a good sports car just flick through the gears.
Yes,
they raised their game because they conceded a soft goal. Our goal was soft. And then their goals weren't spectacular in the scheme of the context of world football, but we were powerless to prevent them from happening.
It's not why we were powerless. We weren't powerless. We weren't powerless, H. We were just bloody useless.
Well, that's the point. We were basically when the ball
gets beat from outside his box again. How many times have we said that this season?
Oh yeah, but you see, this is the brilliant thing about the dumbing down. I mean, I'm surprised that they don't have, instead of looking out for terrorists, they should want to be looking out for people that are visually giving off aura that they might have, 300 IQ points. Who is it that came up with this incomprehensibly stupid phrase? Vicario, he has the odd howler, but he's a great shot stopper. That's like saying he's a great chef, but sometimes the toast is burnt. Talk English. What is wrong with you? I'm telling you, LinkedIn is full. They don't need any more people that speak gibberish. They've got loads, more than they'll ever need. He's not a great shot stopper. He's a goalkeeper who makes routine howlers. He sucks.
And shot stopping is what every goalkeeper should do. Is very basic.
That's their basic employment, basically. Yeah, Chris, that's their job description, isn't it?
I'm joking, of course, because they know what they're doing. They're linguistically dancing on the head of a pin. They're saying to you, "Oh, he's a wonderful chef, but occasionally the salad's a little bit singed." Well, guess what? You're laughing now. We're hurtling like a piano going down a lightly buttered hill. We're heading into the championship. And this, Mark D, this, I think this is going to be great for business. I think it's going to slash a lot of people that are pumping out awful content. People have been telling lies. Seriously, the dishonesty that's been going on around this club. Alistair Gold, who of course you can't say anything nasty about because he's a lovely, wholesome little chap with his Marvel T-shirts. He posted on Twitter that the crowd atmosphere before the game was at record levels of enjoyment or something similar. Guess what, mate? Nobody gives a flying monkeys. I want to know what the score is at full time. They are pumping out propaganda. And they do it badly. And they're all hand in glove. I'd sack the press corps. That'd be the second place. I'd go to the training ground once with Hazel, smash that up, and then I'd go into the press corps in the club, and I would smash all that up and throw all the computers out just to make a point. Because you left a pile of shit on the pavement, and you say you don't work here anymore.
H is from the school of. H is from the school of thought. First, kill all the lawyers, isn't he? You can tell.
I'm from the school of thought of Attila the Hun didn't quite have the nuancing to some of his ideas. Heads on spikes. You put heads on spikes, people don't come into your town causing problems. They go and live somewhere else. There can be no tolerance of stupidity, and it's the arrogance and stupidity that's got us here. But so I would smash up every single computer and throw it all that. You don't work here anymore. You've got the press office feeding the press guano.
So I watched the game yesterday in a local bar, and it was the home of fun. It was the home of Austin, Texas Spurs supporters club. This place was called Mr. Tramps. So they opened the door at 10 a.m. At 10:05, I was sat at the bar with my first beer. By 2:00, 7 beers later, I've never experienced an atmosphere that was probably better than that I've seen in the ground all season. These guys and girls were absolute fanatical, to the point when I heard a song being sung about Sol Campbell dying, I just had to chuckle and think, is this actually happening? It was, and the whole thing was surreal.
I tell you something. For all of this business, well, you're not a real fan, don't go to the games. These guys are actually in the trenches. I used to hang around with the Dublin Spurs supporters, and some of the wildness that went on in their nights, we used to properly have it. I mean, a mate of mine sent me, Mr. Nope, sent me a photo. He was in Costa Rica. What did he send me a photo of during the beginning of the game? At 10:30 in the morning, same time zone as you? Beer cans.
Yeah. But
these people are destroying their days around football matches.
I just love the fucking A, motherfucker. And every yellow card is cheered like a. But if you weren't aware, the US beat Canada at ice hockey yesterday. Apparently, the game the Canadians invented. So every American was
first Olympic medal in that sport for 46 years since the miracle in Moscow. Yeah, they were well up. They were
thumping their chest.
USA.
Oh, and the third thing I'd smash up, because I think smashing up is the level we're at the moment, is the buskers. I hope they keep their guitars in a little nightstand, something, and I would smash them up and put. Why have we got buskers?
I'd like to put my fist in that bloke's trumpet before the game.
Yeah, just get rid of all of it. Just get rid of all of it. I want blokes, big blokes with shaved heads, coat zipped up to here, threatening to murder people. That's what we want.
Selling roasted horse chestnuts outside the ground for £2 a bag.
No, not even that. What about the other guy? I don't know if he's there anymore. He's probably gone and the winds are changed. Got the Colonel.
The Colonel, the burger van.
The burger van. I mean, if anything got you in the mood, what you want? Onions on it. Here you go, Colonel.
I think when Daniel Levy has suggested Mail may not have burnt down London Archway Metal or whatever, I think the Colonel found himself relocated.
Yeah, exactly. But they've absolutely destroyed the game. They've tried to destroy the game, but they've certainly destroyed the club. And as I say, my only language for it, because obviously I'm an unhinged maniac, is that they have asset stripped us. So they're selling out boxing, they're selling out concerts, they're selling out this, that, and the other. Leaves me cold. If ever there was
an indication of what, and people will say, some people are such, shall we say, from a very politely say they might be somewhat naive in their outlook. The indicator for me, the biggest indicator you can have about where ENIC truly lies in terms of football, is the proposed European Super League, because all that was let's find another way to screw everybody and make shitloads of money in the process without giving a crap about the product.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I probably recommended it on here before. I've recommended it to lots of people in life. Glengarry Glen Ross. If you want business lessons, if you want life lessons, Glengarry Glen Ross. Tremendous movie. It's a stage play. It really works.
Great film.
And you can get it on YouTube. You can get it with Broadway casts doing it. Doesn't have to be Al Pacino and Ed Harris and all those guys. But the business model employed there, let's fuck everybody over and go and live in Argentina. Whose business model was that? I'll give you a clue. They lost the Second World War. Right? They lost the Second World War. No more clues. You can't do that to your customer. And this is precisely what ENIC Holdings have done. They've screwed everybody over and tried to move to Argentina.
So did Joe Lewis watch that film and then thought, let's move and wipe out an indigenous people?
I couldn't possibly comment.
Allegedly.
Yes, I couldn't hold an opinion on that either way, my lord. But no,
Patagonia. Sorry.
Google.
But there is no. It's just hilarious that you have this business. They talk about business models having to be sustainable. There is nothing sustainable about the way that ENIC have carried out their operations over Tottenham. Nothing at all. We've had some of the finest, and I don't care. Note, warning, trigger warning. I don't care how you feel about Jose Mourinho. I don't care how you feel about Tony Conte, because it's all right to be racist towards people of that persuasion, because you just can't be racist with black people or brown people. I don't care. These people have got CVs to die for. And your moaning and your bitching and your griping won't count for tuppence. They couldn't work at Spurs. They failed at Spurs. Tony Conte resigned live on TV. And still, we had Gold My Beer, infant of the year, Gold My Beer, telling us that Tony had just gone to Italy for the weekend. He'd be back soon. It was all a storm in the teacup.
And
Hello, Alistair Gold here.
Tudor had his...
You've got to stop voting stupid. That's why they put the age at 18 when you go into the polling booth, because it stops people with undeveloped brains coming in and say, hello. No, he resigned live on TV.
And Tudor had his Conte moment after his first 95 minutes as a football coach for Tottenham. Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this guy was supposed to come in, and what's that phrase? Pour oil on troubled waters? And he's come in and said these guys have got bad habits.
No, he's actually, what he should be doing, he should be pouring oil on troubled waters. He should be lighting the mothers up.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds
Simple
very
as
clear.
that.
Next thing you'll be recommending him wandering around with a crowbar, bashing things up. He doesn't agree with.
I like to think mine is somewhat of a degree lower than perhaps what you might have been suggesting, but you know,
Yeah, we've got to bash the life out of stuff.
bash them and burn them. Bash them and burn them. That's the solution.
Bash them and burn them. It's how we built this empire.
It's pitchforks and revolt, isn't it? That's what we're looking at here. It's Viva Vendetta, Frankenstein, you name it, it's there.
You could get the number of people who weren't influenced productively by a pitchfork over historical times into a phone box. At the sight of a pitchfork with a bit of fire in the reflectivity of your eyes certainly does the bloody trick. Sitting around saying, oh, we're going to have a protest. And the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust. They didn't read out all we said in the minutes. No, because they rejected everything you tried to insert. Nobody gives a damn.
Mm-hmm.
They've never given a damn.
We like it. Do you know what we're like? You know that film 300, all about Sparta and all that sort of stuff. They could do it. They could do a really, really shit low budget sequel called The 13, who basically can do fuck all, because that would be basically us, wouldn't it?
But I mean, the Spurs Trust, and I've got to say, the people that have done protests so far, you need to up your game. You cannot negotiate with these people. If your idea, if your plan, if your strategy, if your masterstock is to sit down and have tea and biscuits with whoever's on the board this week, you're going in the wrong bloody direction. You have no map. You need those people down the road. You need to have them forced out the building. Now, I'm not selling civil disorder, what will get you in a police station, but I'm selling you the model which has been proven to work for human beings over millennia.
Well,
you do not chit-chat with people that are nasty. You cannot negotiate with people who have come to kill you. And I know that sounds terribly, terribly abrupt and awful, but ENIC do not wish you well if you support Tottenham. They never have. They wanted to take the fillings out of your grandparents' teeth. That was their ambition. And
I have not seen
to stop being nice to them.
You know, they have this mission statement about, oh, we want to be competitive and blah, all that blah, 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 blah. I'm not even going to dignify it with actually repeating any of it. And Chris, you'll know this from well, we all know this, but Chris in particular, talk about the corporate world. There are some things that are analogous to this as well. If you have a vision for what you want to do, you need to have a plan behind it, and then put the right people in place and execute the plan. It's that simple. We have talked as a club about this concept, and have never had a plan in place or even tried to execute it. And that is why we are always where we are.
It's and that's telling that Arsenal are amazed that Vinay Venkatesan managed to end up where he has, in the position he has, when he was well liked when he was there, but he was no more than an administrator, and he never held a top job and nothing on the operations side. Yet seemingly Daniel went out the door nobody paused for a moment, because that would require you to be an adult to think, is this the right man for the right job? No, he isn't. We'll replace him. But Tottenham being Tottenham, let's just continue regardless. The greatest thing for us would be if him and Flange, or whatever we're calling the wanker, disappeared in the summer, and we got a footballing person like Paul Mitchell back to the club, or we had in somebody who actually knows the games. At the moment, you've got retards running the club from top to bottom.
Retards.
Yeah.
That's the posh version. Oh, you are a retard.
I didn't like that one with the beard talking about the crowbar, but the fellow with the cowboy hat on, he had a certain way about him.
A certain je ne sais quoi.
A certain je ne sais Suisse. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. They are retarded, and they don't.
Sorry to any retards out there.
Sorry, those
Not
any of you.
that they would know, Chris. Not that they would know.
I'm in the retard bus. But
Well,
no,
it's like
it's,
60%
Retards,
down
we're
now,
talking to
basically.
you. We're talking to you.
but we need to get football people in. And when I say we, I think it's particularly grandiose of some of these.
Let me pause you just there while I remember. Do you know who else is top of my shit list at the moment?
No.
Dominic Solanke, suffering from a sore throat, didn't know if he could play 90 minutes of football. He's paid $100,000 a week, for Christ's sake. Talk to me about the difficulties of life, that we've got guys and girls front line minus limbs, yet he can't play a game of football.
As I said to the poor individual that I was watching the Spurs game with, oh, it's okay, we're saved. They're going to release the other half of our 120 million attack force. So we had Sir Pigeon a lot come on and look confused and earnest and forthright, but didn't do anything. Gave away a few stupid free kicks, left his elbow in a few times, achieved the square root of naff all, and then followed up by Solanke, who I've actually given up. I don't even know how many times he touched the ball. Neither of those two could start a fire in an appropriately comedic facility that was full of both very combustible stuff and very flammable stuff. They are absolutely hopeless, but they weren't. It's not their fault. They're never going to be any better, but they were bought by people who thought they could snooker the rest of us and make a few quid on top.
They couldn't start a piss up in the gunmaker's arms, could they?
Well, probably not, because we're so busy doing that ourselves these days. We've all had to have a long look at ourselves. But no, it's absolutely right. They are totally clueless.
That's why they fit in well at Tottenham.
Well, we had 13 players were available, we were told. And I just want to anybody saying, well, yeah, and you blame Dan. They provided these players, and I could get thrown out the magic circle for suggesting this. But does anybody like me think they might not all be poorly? Because I remember the giddy days of Tom Huddleston and the wing-heeled Aaron Lennon. And when times got tough for them, they were talking to the physio about how bad their lives were. I tell you now, boy, there are a number of people in the physio room who are just doing the old, ooh, when the door opens, because they don't know who's coming in. Oh, all right, Dave, didn't realise it was you. Just in case it's somebody in a suit, one of those polyester mixed blue suits. I swear down, I absolutely guarantee that not all of them, but some of them are swinging it. The old Lead Swingers International is going on there. It's where they hold the central team meetings.
If by God we stay up this season, then in the summer we need to take that thing called a wrecking ball and completely destroy that squad. It's not a case of who goes. The real question is, who do we keep? Because they're a lot of them.
So far we have Hazel.
Yeah.
We have Fire, and we have a wrecking ball. Perhaps that should be the theme. Perhaps that's going to be the tagline: Hazel, Fire, and a wrecking ball.
If I showed you over my left shoulder, I bought myself a new vest. It's locked, loaded, and primed. You can almost hear it.
Lord,
the Atlantic.
Has it got? Is it sponsored by Malbec on one nipple and
Ice on the other.
Fat Jerry's ribeye on the other.
It says MAGA across the front.
Well, at least it's a brand you can trust. That's all I'll say.
When I was sitting in this pub yesterday, there was some dude sat on a stool in a massive T-shirt of Trump, and all it said was "original gangster."
Good. It's great people get the message right when they're doing these things. None of this rubbish about, we're going to help society. We can all identify as lollipops. No, we've come here to grind you into the floor and make this country safe again. Thanks very much for playing.
I thought you weren't going to talk about your favourite dating app again during this show.
Oh, did you see what he did there, Tony?
Oh, I did that. He gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning, US time, and he's still absolutely rock solid.
Do you know what I blame? I blame the confused air hostesses he's had to be competing with.
I did make a new investment.
Don't make you anything else, sir.
I did make a new investment yesterday. Look at those bad boys.
Oh, look.
Have you seen that episode of The Office where he says, you don't see many heels like that these days? And Brent goes, yeah, you can get them.
Crispy, the UK secretary of the Garth Brooks fan club.
I'm going to his concert in the summer, just for your reference.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you put £100 a day away between the day your tickets arrive and the day you get there, you'll have covered the bill. I didn't know you could spend that much without having Elton John in your back garden. I'm just amazed by the amount of money you've spent.
Yeah, but look, I've made a history of wasting money on sporting Tottenham, so nothing's new, is it?
I honestly cannot find it in my heart or my brain that there is anything positive to cling to. I'm looking at the games we're going to play, and do you know something? I don't even care who it is. I mean, they're saying now, your next game is Fulham. I mean, I don't mean they're saying as if it's up for debate, but, the Fulham is the next name out the hat. Is this side capable of beating Fulham?
Ryan Sessegnon hat-trick incoming, I call it now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you'd have to be... That's not as stupid as saying that there would be a Richarlison hat-trick.
Well, that'd just be playing crazy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Section me now. Take me away.
But it is extraordinary. I mean, and this is the thing. I mean, obviously on the Substack, you've got to sort of take a slight context pill here that people sign up for stuff they are in tune with, generally speaking. So all the garbage, which they've all got their comments switched off because otherwise there would just be murder on the streets. But the people reading that garbage think that there's hope. If you read the comments on the live blogs for the Substack, nobody saw a win coming against Arsenal. There was a bit of hope, a bit of I'd like them to win, but nobody really saw it coming. It was just doom and gloom.
A team 17th, the likelihood of beating the team first in the league. If you're an educated man, you know that's not going to happen, don't you?
Well, you say that, Chris. You say that, but it has happened. It has happened because guess what? That team actually fought, even if it was 17, actually fought and had a go and decided they were gonna go down fighting.
Well, I suppose,
and it has happened.
I suppose Wolves did it a few games ago, didn't they? They got
exactly
down and they showed a bit of something and got something from it.
Sunderland, Sunderland at home, admittedly, but they kept going. They went, okay, they're not 17th, I know, but they're new to the Premier League, and I know they're having a bit of a rough ride, but they raised their game. We are the erectile dysfunction of football. We can't race for anything.
Yeah.
If only there was a help was at hand.
I was disappointed the other day to see that somebody had plagiarised us and stolen. We were the first ever people to describe Brendan Johnson sitting down to take a wee. Now everybody's copied us. We should have trademarked that line that time.
Well, you know what Spurs human beings on is great misfortune. Because you can say something pleasant and it's always short and there's only a couple of people and then you run out of interest. Mm-hmm. But when you're saddled with somebody who's an effeminate tosspot as him,
who can't even get a game for Crystal Palace now.
No. And if you mention his name to Crystal Palace fans, your first thing you get is a chair in the face.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, right, and so some in a lot of respects, there are things that we say we don't necessarily want to be right about. Okay. Because we
Correct.
don't want the demise of our club. We don't want it to go there, etc., etc. But we have been calling all of this for a consistently long period of time. We have called out Brennan Johnson, even though all the wet wipes we were going on about. Well, he scored 11 goals. Why did we get rid of our best scorer? Well, because he was useless. And guess what? He's gone to another club and he has been proven to be exactly as useless as we said he was. It's very, very simple, people. Trust us, listen to us. We know best.
Yeah,
Well, the
we were
thing is,
telling you, we were
the
telling
thing-
you about Prince Andrew for years. Nobody wanted to listen to us.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing is, Tony, what you say there is very true, and you've got to bear in mind that we are of an age where we don't really care. I mean, it's nice to be
Talk for
liked.
yourself, you old gits.
Yeah, all right, mate.
Rudolph over there, sat on your
There's
balcony.
stuff that I'm not prepared to share online because I don't hate you. Okay,
Listen. Coming from somebody who had a cowboy hat on and admitted to buying several pairs of boots, you don't get a free pass, fella. You just don't get a free pass.
Mate,
Just call me the hillbilly heartthrob, Chrissy B.
But the thing you've got to remember with us is that we all went to school opposed to swapped out pencil
Yeah,
cases.
Borstal, wasn't it?
Borstal, yeah. But no, the thing is, we do like people signing up. We do like the banter with people in the comments and the subscribers and all the rest of it. But we're not here to make any money out of you, and we're not so damaged that we need to be that popular. So if a video doesn't do particularly well, guess what? We have day jobs. We get on with our lives. We're not selling anything. We're telling you what we think. We're giving you the benefit of our wisdom, as the paucity of it is up for you to establish. But we are giving you the benefit of our wisdom. We want Spurs to do well. It's a default setting, but we're not stupid. And as I said to you in my earlier outburst, if you like, I wasn't dropped on my head as a baby. I'm pretty sure Chris and Tony are in the same boat here. So if you want to listen to people who say, oh, yeah, I thought I'm really unlucky. I mean, yeah, we've got to beat Fulham, surely. Based on what? Based on what?
Go and watch We Are Tottenham TV, as we are not for you.
Yeah. If you want to argue that stupid might be right, you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong shop. I mean, we've been through the hoop with this club, and it's not like, I mean, I know there's going to be a bit kickback. Well, if I want to listen to my dad, well, maybe you should listen to your dad. Maybe your dad isn't as daft as you think he is because you're only mentally about the age of 12. But the way ENIC have carried themselves off, I've been banging on about this for years, and the amount of people who have now gone silent, disappeared into the ether, when they're arresting people for using the Y word at White Hart Lane, the ticket exchange, that they were absolutely bumming people on there. Everything they've done, including the new stadium, because I hate to break it to you, but that kind of pornography didn't do anything for me. My immediate question was what was wrong with the lane, and what was your real motive? And I've said to you before, I would love, and again, this is one of these things where I will be in the boardroom with Hazel, gently tapping the table. I would love to say, right, okay, all of these sponsors, you go away, you've got a couple of hours, okay? Grab yourself a calculator, a sheet of paper, and a couple of pens, off. I'll see you in a couple of hours. I want to know what percentage is coming back into the football club. And then Cadbury and all these other people and all these info people and all these, they're basically just Ponzi schemes, these advertisers, they're junk. Right, that we bought so-and-so for 27 million quid. We got him for 26.5 because of the money that came in. And I would like some transparency. And don't talk to me about commercial sensitivity. We all know these, and I don't care if it's tuppence. If you said that we've done a deal with this printing company or this internet company or this, whatever it is, there are all these management bloody program things. Sure, and that's going to knock 50p off the price of a season ticket. Now, you can sneer at 50p, but if it's true, let's tell fans where the money's going. Because we get all this vagary that's linked in of, oh, every penny goes back to the football. Well, I don't care because I don't know what it is. This is why I like club cards. And I know you're a lot of you go, oh, it's very evil, you know, the keepers. I don't mind letting Tesco know what I buy, because every now and again it turns up I can get £5 or whatever it is off my shop. And I think to myself, happy days. There's a 4-pack of beer for nothing. Beep. I love the transparency of them giving me a little bit back. It's only a fractional amount, but it's a little bit back. And then I see the benefit of it. And I get to choose what I spend it on.
What this season has done as well, and the way things have gone, is, and I was being flippant a little bit, sort of just over the top with, you know, we know best. But obviously we have said a lot of things that have come true. But this also then goes into this, and what this season has also done, and we've said this game many times before, we have utterly debunked the myth that Ange threw the season to win the Europa League.
Favor, yeah.
Utterly debunked that myth once and for all. Anybody who relies on that as an excuse for why, you know, winning the Europa League was a good thing, you need to go and have your head examined.
And we've also dissolved the brand so much that the suggestion is that key sponsors are pulling out. And as I say, you've got to spend to protect. And if you look at any blue chip organization, they invest and continue to develop the product. And you look at iPhone, for an example, we know that a phone's a phone, but how many releases do they do with a new feature or something, because they can't afford to stagnate and stand still and somebody like Samsung overtake them? And what we've done is failed to invest in the brand. We've eroded it, and now we're becoming unattractive to investors and to sponsors who, guess what, they want their blue chips to be aligned with success. We're not successful.
We're the phone equivalent. We're the football phone equivalent of Nokia 3310.
Yeah.
And again, this goes back to the infantilization, the stupidity of the fans. And you go, you're calling me stupid. Well, only if you're stupid. I mean, if you're stupid and you're upset about being called stupid, you really do need help. But we've got a club which is being used as a urinal by a betting company that is major within the sport, within the sort of ecosystem of the sport. And you still expect my company that produces whatever product or service to spend X million quid a year. So every morning we have to send a member of staff out with a bucket and a chamois leather to get the urine off the front of the building. You're out of your minds. And I tell you, the world has collapsed. The world has collapsed. I said this before, opening this bloody pub showed me very much the fact that the world is everybody's grab it and run now. People don't want to invoice for anything. And it is tough. Beyond the cost of living crisis, it is tough. But the idea that a company could just shell out X millions or X hundreds of thousands of pounds on a sponsorship or something, and all they're getting back is being smirked at.
You think?
I mean, and the abuse, just quickly, the abuse that Matt Law got for publishing those two pieces on the sponsor pulling out, and the naysaying and the sneering. Please, people, this is the most offensive thing I'm going to say to any of you. Don't be so stupid. The choice, the control, the power, it's in your hands. You must realise when you're saying stupid things. And this is what people do. Matt Law points out that they're going to lose some sponsorship deals, that they're going to, even if we don't get relegated, it's going to cost us millions because of the reputational damage. People like Chris B was the only voice I was hearing talking about it online. And you didn't understand it. And now you're saying, oh, he's talking to me as if I'm stupid. Well, I hate to break it to you, mate. Maybe you're a little bit in the coconut.
And as a result, that 100 million that the Levy family were alleged to have invested, all that goes is to plug the gap created by the withdrawal of other revenues coming into the club. So we don't see better players come in. It just digs a deeper hole. No European football, another revenue stream gone. You just create problem after problem.
There is some financial light at the end of the tunnel, though. At least we don't have to pay out any performance bonuses.
Yeah, and at least for season tickets, instead of being reduced as any humble company would consider based on 24 months of shite, they're now frozen. So they in the same way that tax thresholds are frozen, so everybody still suffers. I want to know what league we're going to be in before I hand over my hard-earned money.
No, absolutely. I mean, the reason, it's absolutely hilarious, and you get people, I have to say, like the Supporters Trust, saying that they've been hand in glove, that they've supported and echoed the message and blah blah, that the prices are frozen. Well, that's one way of looking at it. The other is, who in their right mind was going to be able to actually stand up straight and keep a straight face and say, "Yeah, we're charging you suckers an extra 4%." Nobody's going to pay it.
Think of that statement logically. The prices have been frozen. You're happy with that. So what you're saying is the prices have been frozen at a level where you're still having to fork out £3,500, whatever it is a basic season ticket is per year, to watch the same shit you're watching now. You call that a victory?
Well, how many games did we lose last year? And I know there was it was yesterday.
It's the answer to life, the universe, and everything. 22.
But we lost 22 games, which was not just a club record, it was a Premier League record, because up until then, if you lost 22 games, you fell out the trapdoor into the Championship. Now, how much is that worth? Don't give me some old toffee about, my granddad supported Spurs during the Boer War or whatever. I'm not interested in that. I'm just saying to you, in pounds, shillings and pence, how much is it trooping all the way over to bloody North London to watch Spurs lose at home?
I don't understand.
The product you're selling.
I don't understand this.
I probably do about 150 quid a game, including train travel, a couple of beers, a bit of food. Yeah, easy.
Which is, listen, it's great if you've got it, and I'm all for being an advocate of people in a Western democracy, a nice place to live. If you don't agree, Venezuela are taking planes that land occasionally. But the reality is, how much is it worth to you? Because to me, I told you, if I wanted to, I could schneagle tickets to go and see, which with the UEFA League thing, it's that end of the market. It's the top ticket, the top guest corporate ticket you can get. I can get one of those. And I've said, no, thanks very much. I'll be honest. It's a train journey. It's getting there. It's getting back the same night. I don't really want to be doing a commo on top and all the rest of it. But the reality is I'm not interested. And I'm not doing it to showboat to make a stand. I'm doing it on a show that will be watched by maybe 3,000 people if we're lucky.
You mentioned Matt about you mentioned that sort of what was it you said? Oh crap! That point you made. Matt Law. That is it. Matt Law. That was what I was saying about Matt Law. And him getting all that abuse for saying that. And this is where you talk about stupidity. About stupid. It doesn't take a lot of common sense to recognize that if a company invests in your brand and then sees it being mocked by association by Paddy Power, that they are going to want to remove their support of said advertising and said sponsorship, in the same way that if Tottenham suddenly become a cult of mass murderers, they're going to say, I don't want to be associated with a cult of mass murderers. Or this is not difficult to say. This is not difficult to understand.
But this has been the point I've made all along. And when we've been, another thing which I think I've been right about, the business of, Spurs is worth 3 billion, 4 billion. Well, do you know what? That comes with a lot of responsibility and baggage, spending that class of money. Let me just, hang on a minute. Wrexham? Didn't somebody go and buy them? Aren't all their fans in their lowly little division, aren't they having a great time? That didn't cost 4 billion.
I dare say that there are people like Amanda Staveley and her connections that are praying that Tottenham get relegated because they see the opportunity to then go in and purchase the club at a realistic price and then throw the
and all this. Absolutely, Chris, and everything you say, H. At the end of the day, 4 billion, 5 billion, whatever it is, the club is only worth what someone is prepared to pay for it. The rest of it is all speculation and spreadsheet money, which is valueless. That is all.
I used to get involved in buying and selling, just as a little part-time swindle, collectible sort of memorabilia type stuff. And people to this day still, and it was particularly noting after the passing of Pele, God rest him, didn't understand the difference between the going rate and the own it forever price. So the going rate for a Pele signed whatever it might be because he polluted the market. It was an overdose of Pele signed stuff. He was signing till very late in his life. The stuff that he produced, everybody, the amount of people, I'll say, the amount of people who suddenly went, oh, I've got it, couldn't get what they paid for it, because what they paid for it was the own it forever price. I've got a couple of bits which are own it forever prices, and I bought them knowing full well I've got some stuff from the Great Train Robbery, right? Because there's stuff that you can't find off the street tomorrow. So when I eventually snuff it and somebody finds them and hopefully doesn't chuck them into landfill, puts them up for auction, they'll probably get back what I paid plus what do they call it? Interest, inflation.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy them as an investment. I bought them because I wanted to own them and look at them.
You're talking about intrinsic value. It has a value to you. It has a value to you as a collector.
Exactly, because I wanted them to be on my wall to give me pleasure to look at. I didn't buy them to bore people that if I wanted to sell them, they were going to be worth £1 million each, because they're not going to be. But I know in the scheme of what I would buy and sell for, I probably overpaid, but I wanted to ensure that I had them, which is a very difference. And the business with Spurs saying, oh, it's worth this, it's worth that. But all the numbers I heard, it was end of the rainbow numbers, because you've got to bear in mind, this isn't a doer-upper.
It's a major bit.
This has had the kapow, woohoo investment, because they borrowed 22 million quid to buy us, and we're now worth whatever we might be worth. But if you want to pay 3 billion, that means you've then got to do something, woohoo, kapow, in order to make the value of the rock concerts and the Cowboys versus the Penguins and all the other nonsense.
And you've got and you're inheriting a £700 million debt that remains outstanding against the stadium.
And you're also inheriting a football club which doesn't bloody win anything. Yeah, and most people use as a urinal. And that's what you're up against.
If you haven't got that badge that says FA Premiership, you ain't getting the money, fella.
No. And that, as you've said, for months and months and months on end now, Chris, the fine, that glorified status that we have, it's all glorified because it could go with a bad turn of hand in the card game. And we are being dealt bad cards, card after card. Players that aren't good enough, players that are overrated. I mean, we have only ourselves to blame. This whole situation is self-inflicted. It's got nothing to do with Frank, nothing to do with Jose Mourinho, nothing to do with that. Don't stop getting distracted. It's the scumbags that, curiously enough, many people have been pointing out to you have not been here to do good works.
It's a lack of long-term vision and strategy, as opposed to more focus on spreadsheets and then
absolutely.
Well, their idea of strategy is, I would say, they probably have a remit that every quarter they want to announce a new partner. We've got and we
do transfer signings, don't we?
Yeah, we've got a skincare partner. We've got a buildings partner. We've got a motor vehicle partner. We've got a holiday tenancy, blah blah blah.
We've got a self-euthanasia partner. We offer all Spurs fans the opportunity to offer themselves.
Exactly.
Have to watch this shit for another year.
Get off the flight and off yourself. That's our tagline.
Sponsored by Dignitas.
Yeah.
Dignitas, the only brand we've bought you that you can truly trust.
The most successful Swiss partnership other than Raymond Vega.
Have Raymond Vega. There is a man who deserves a mausoleum, a Colosseum, of course, because he hasn't snuffed it quite yet.
You'd think he was like a Ballon d'Or winner, and he'd won.
Is it Ramon Vega or Suzanne Vega? I can never tell the bloody difference.
Suzanne didn't give you as many headaches. I mean, Christ alive, what a thick human being he is. Thick, stupid. You could pick any tweet of his, and some of them you don't even have to sit on for an hour, and they're either out of date or upside down.
I'm sure I read one recently that made me chuckle, where he was suggesting about getting involved in trying to buy the club. I was thinking, explain that one.
I would actually get angry when I hear his name if it wasn't the fact he's so farcically stupid.
Mr. I think one could describe him as Mr. Thick, thicky, and so's your dad.
Yeah, but he has people that say, Raymond, what do you think? I mean, it's like asking him if it's going to bloody rain. Total waste of time. But we're in it. Listen, we're in a massive pickle. We really are in a massive pickle. We've got Fulham up next. I can't see the next win. I genuinely can't.
I've got the fixtures up. I've got the fixtures up, mate. Let's go through these real quickly. See how many points we think we've got. Fulham. What do we think? Fulham away.
I think we will draw that.
I think we'll lose. Crystal Palace home. I think that's the only thing. I think we've got a chance of winning.
Forest, I think we'll win.
Liverpool away. Lose that. No problem at all. Forest is a 6-pointer. Sunderland away. I see us winning that. Brighton, we never win at Brighton. Wolves, another 6-pointer. Aston Villa away, ain't going to be winning that. Leeds at home, draw possibly. Chelsea away, never winning that. Everton at home, probably win that. We're looking at best 6 to 9 points in between now and the rest of the season.
Millwall at home it is next season then.
That ain't going to keep us up, is it? Let's face it. None of that's going to keep us up. I
tell you something. We go down, and we will get eaten alive.
Well, we won't be coming back anytime soon.
No. This bunch of snowflakes will absolutely shit themselves when they have the likes of Sheffield United away in the rain and what have you, and them going to the likes of Sheffield United with Chris Wilder giving it right large in their ear. They'll look at each other and go, "What the hell have we got ourselves into here?" You're too late then by then, matey. You're too late by then.
Let's hope most of them are exposed in the Epstein files.
Well, the thing is as well, isn't it? From what I understand, is it true? I mean, you might cast more light on this now, but there are no relegation clauses in any of our contracts.
No, none of them. Yeah,
so of course there won't be. No.
What a brilliant foresight and master plan of our esteemed ex-colleague, Mr. Levy. Yeah, that's because he was so arrogant in thinking that we would never be in with a chance of ever getting relegated.
Yeah, you have to be really careful with contracts, and you need to read them. Is all I can say. I read a contract that somebody wrote up for our staff, and it appeared to be I can only describe it as a convoluted NDA against somebody making a cocktail using like Dubonnet and Coca-Cola, then calling it the Whiz Wang and going off and retiring and making £1 million, which is never going to happen because Dubonnet owned Dubonnet and Coca-Cola owned Coca-Cola. So you're protecting yourself against something which is fundamentally just unfeasible.
That's what happens when you use AI to do all the business transactions.
Doesn't it just? I would have when you see the contracts being signed and it's always one sheet of paper because it's all done for effect. My contracts, I swear to God, they would be even on a scrolling iPad, they would go on for days. And I would make sure legally we were covered, because at the moment the Spurs contract may as well be on one side of A4. Come in, get overpaid, do what you want.
Yeah, and also you mentioned AI, Chris. You mentioned AI. AI, even with its all hallucinations, it not being terribly perfect, would do a better job than Enid.
Well, there was a post I read recently, and when they appointed Igor Tudor, the statement that was put out, it would have been generated by artificial intelligence. And you think, again, how simple is it to announce a new coach? It doesn't take a bot to do that. Anybody should be capable. But it just shows the total lack of effort amongst the club and LinkedIn hires, dare I say.
And on that bombshell, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Can I ask all of you who own cowboy hats to wear them as we bid farewell?
Tune in next week when you'll see us line dancing.
I'm doing that tonight. Yeah.
No.
I'm going to a corporate line dancing class.
Do you know something? That's the correct response, Tony. I have to say, I was trying to think of something that I really wouldn't. I'd rather be waterboarded by. Anyway, fill in the rest yourselves.
Spend today
corporate line dancing.
Yeah. Spend today, hopefully, in the company of Smice agents.
I honestly did not think. I honestly did not think we'd get any more ridiculous than Tottenham Hotspur, but well done, Chris. You just managed to do it.
And we haven't seen his.
I even went out and got
I'm sorry, folks. I had to moderate my thoughts there because we saw something last week which nobody should have seen any week.
Bravo to you, sir. Bravo to you for admitting
Bravo
it, sir.
to you.
It takes a man with gigantic cojones to admit that.
Oh, they're
I doff my cap to
massive,
you, sir.
hairy, and huge.
Yes, right. And safe home, kids. That's all we can wish you at this troubling moment in the careers. Keep it, Tottenham. There we go. We're out of here.